Greetings. In this video we explore the joys of semicolons and colons. So the first rule you need to know is that a semicolon connects independent clauses. It will help you if you recognize what independent clauses are. If you know that an independent clause is a group of words with a subject and a verb, and usually also an object that can stand alone as a sentence, you're in a better place to be able to correctly implement these rules. On the left side of the colon is an independent clause. On the left side of the semicolon is an independent clause. On the right side of the semicolon is an independent clause. It's crucial that it be on both sides. So here's a sample sentence. You'll notice there's a subject-verb and an object on both sides of the semicolon, to the left and to the right. If to one side or the other there was not a complete independent clause, this would be an incorrect use of a semicolon, but it's correct because they're there. The same kind of structure can be used using a transitional phrase in between. Let's look at a sample sentence. You've got the clause to the left of the semicolon, then however, comma, and a clause to the right of the semicolon. In both scenarios, the key idea is a complete sentence on both sides. Follow that rule and your semicolons will be solid in your paper. Let's look at a colon. A colon also has an independent clause, but the independent clause is to the left side of the colon. On the right side of the colon, you can be creative. You can use lists or phrase that rephrase. You have a lot of options. It's a very sort of liberating punctuation mark. But you have to make sure you've got that complete sentence, subject, verb, object before the colon. The colon can't interrupt or shorten the complete independent clause. So let's look at an example. I love punctuation and all its tiny joys, colon, and then after the colon, a list or series of phrases. The arbitrary rules, the agonized hair splitting, the neurotic obsession. So notice left side of the colon, complete clause. Subject, verb, object. On the right side of the colon, a rephrasing and or a list. Here you can see the more formal use of the colon where it introduces a list that's actually a series of independent clauses. So you can have independent clauses on both sides of the colon, but normally when you do, the independent clauses on the right side of the colon are put together, assembled as a list. So again, you've got the independent clause on the left, and to the right, you've got a list of clauses or phrases that comment on, respond to, expand upon the main clause. So let's try these rules out, doing a little test run on a few sentences. I'd like you to tell me whether this example is correct or incorrect. You might want to stop the video to take a look at it. And when you come back, I'll be offering the answer. So this sentence is correct. And the reason why is on both sides of the semicolon, you have independent clauses. Punctuation makes is your subject-verb pair. On the other side, it brings. Those are two sentences, and the semicolon is linking them together. Let's see if we can check out another example. In this case, look over the sentence carefully and let me know whether it's correct or incorrect. Again, stopping the video is a good idea, and then restarting to hear the answer. This one's incorrect, and the reason is, at first things look good, because on the left side of the semicolon, you've got punctuation enhances, you've got an independent clause, stands alone as a sentence. The problem is on the right side, clarifying, giving, providing, these are ing words that look like verbs, but they're not because there's no verb in front of it, right? And so you've got, so you would need like a subject-verb pair in front of it, right? Punctuation clarifies. That's a subject-verb. But clarifying is just a present participle. And so you've got a list of present participles, and they're just phrases. They're not independent clauses. And so this requires a colon instead of a semicolon. Let's try another one. Now, This looks like a list, and the question is it set up properly? Take a minute to look at it, and then I'll give you the answer. This one's incorrect. Why? Because you don't have a complete independent clause before the colon. The joys of punctuation are the following, or I love many things about punctuation. But here you have the joys of punctuation. The joys is the subject, the verb is are, but the object's been left off. So it's an incomplete sentence before the colon. The joys of punctuation are the following, or I love punctuation for the following reasons, or I love punctuation for many reasons, colon. Then comes the list. Let's take one last look at a sample. Punctuation is the nectar of the writing gods, freeing their souls by ordering their world. So take a second, figure out if this looks correct or incorrect, and then restart the video. This one's correct. It's got the independent clause to the left, punctuation is, and then the present participle freeing sets up a nice little phrase, and it's okay to have phrases on the right side of a colon as long as you have independent clause on the left side. So this is an example of a correct colon. So I hope these examples help you get started. It's always tough to apply contrived examples to a paper, but I think if you practice this enough, you'll start to see progress. And you should know that errors with punctuation like semicolons and colons are often a good sign that you're exploring more complex structures. So don't freak out if you encounter them. It's just a stage to work through as you develop more sophisticated approaches to designing sentences. Thanks.